Part 2. So going back to conditional promises for a minute. The author of the original article brought up a point which, as an ex-Mormon, causes me to pause. Think about LDS temple work. Perhaps we make the fatal mistake of thinking that we can extend our control under the conditional promise even into the beyond. We think we have a claim on heaven itself if the proper conditions are met. So even the temple covenant is an if-then. Religion is most often just the attempt to extend this conditionality into eternity and to gain a certain measure of control even over the eternal itself. How ballsy of Joseph Smith. No, I wouldn't put it past him now that I know this. And that just brought this scripture to mind. It was my mother's mostest favoritist verse to quote. I, the Lord, am bound when ye do what I say, but when ye do not what I say, ye have no promise. This is actually where a lot of my faith was placed. Think of the patriarchal grip. Eeny, meeny, miny, moe, catch a tiger by its toe. With a covenant, you could bind God. You could make him give you what you wanted as long as you obeyed your part of the covenant. That was supposed to be the power. You're actually harnessing Elohim. That's kind of a form of force, isn't it? And thinking about why my faith was placed in the covenant, the conditional covenant, rather than in the conditional God, was because I thought he was a capricious dick for most of my life. And of course, you learn this from how you're raised. I can remember my parents making a promise in the morning, if you do such and such chores or things at the apartments, then you'll get to do XYZ. We'd bust our ass doing the best we can. My mother would find a fault with it, and then she'd quote that fucking scripture. We didn't do what she said, we don't get the promise, and it's our fault. And in thinking about why I crawled my way back into membership with the church after being unjustly excommunicated, it was because I was converted to what I thought was Mormon God, the actual divine love that fills this universe. It came to me when I had been thrown away by everybody else. There was a CD by Michael McLean called The Garden, which was an allegory for the atonement and for the Garden of Gethsemane. And there was a line, his blood is flowing like a river. Why doesn't he get up and leave here? There were spiritual experiences where I felt divine love. So it really upset me when Russell M. Nelson taught that God's love was conditional. If God's love was conditional, what was it that carried me through the excommunication and the pain and the abandonment and the ostracization and the judgment? If that wasn't Mormon God, who was it?